Hello. A lorry driver has pleaded guilty to endangering railway passengers after a train was derailed 2 months ago.
More than 20 people were injured in the crash in Suffolk. It happened on the line between Sudbury and Marks Tay. A train crashed into a sewage tanker. Alan Dickinson, a passenger on the train, was hurt so badly he wasn't expected to survive.
Alan Dickinson waiting on the platform at Sudbury station today, just as he did on that fateful day 10 weeks ago. This will be the first time he's travelled on this stretch of line since it happened.
I want to get the monkey off my back. And doing this morning will do that easily.
On the day of the crash, Alan, who's 58, boarded the train at the last minute. Just a few miles down the line, it collided with a sewage tanker on an unmanned crossing. Alan smashed into the table in front of him. He was then led to safety at the side of the track.
I was fine standing, and then after a while I decided to go and lie down on a grass verge, so I wasn't feeling so good. I don't remember what I felt, to be honest, but I didn't really believe at the time I was seriously hurt, I don't think.
What Alan didn't realise was that he was slowly bleeding to death inside because of terrible internal injuries. He needed 30 pints of blood during transfusions. Today we're heading for the Royal London Hospital, which is where Alan eventually ended up after initial emergency treatment in Colchester.
Alan, do you want to come through?
He needs to be checked out by consultant Rob Hutchins, one of the team who helped save him.
Alan had injuries that many 18-year-olds would have died from. If you consider all the parts of your body that live underneath your ribs on the right-hand side, there wasn't a single piece of Alan's body that wasn't either torn in two or partly damaged.
How do you put into words what you think about these people?
Well, they're just wonderful, and it's very difficult. Words can't really express what I feel, because I was that close to losing my life, wasn't I?
The driver of the tanker involved in the crash, Arvidas Bartasius, will be sentenced next month. He admitted endangering the safety of passengers. As for Alan Dickinson, he went back to work just 2 days after a 7-week stay in hospital. It's easy to see why they call him the miracle survivor. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East.
This weekend we'll all be putting our clocks back an hour as British summertime comes to an end. But new research claims keeping our clocks ahead of GMT all year round could prevent 100 deaths on the roads, save 500,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide and boost the UK tourism industry by £2.5 billion.
The early hours of the morning and milking duties are well underway. If the daylight saving bill gets the go-ahead, then these cows will be milked in the dark for longer. At a dairy farm like this one in Suffolk, carrying out morning duties in darkness comes at a cost.
We're going to be leaving lights on till 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. It's all going to add up over time, but there's nothing better than obviously working in daylight.
The idea of changing the way we set our clocks is pretty simple. We'd set them to Greenwich Mean Time +1 in the winter and GMT +2 in the summer, meaning that the sun would rise and set an hour later throughout the day.
Not everyone wants to leave things the way they are. For Suffolk MP Tim Yeo, the campaign to keep it lighter later has become a mission.
Firstly, because it'll save lives on the roads. It cuts the accidents in the late afternoon and the early evening. Secondly, it's a huge boost to the tourism industry, very important in East Anglia, very big opportunity for job creation. And thirdly, it saves energy as well, something which we're much more conscious of than when the last experiment took place 40 years ago.
For those backing the tourist industry, under the new bill, darker mornings mean lighter evenings, a concept in their eyes worth fighting for.
Could be hugely beneficial. There's an estimate that for the tourism industry as a whole it could be £2.5 to £3 billion increase a year, 60 to 80,000 jobs. That's hugely important. We get potentially more day trippers, more people spending more time here, enjoying the seafront that we have, and spending more time and more money in the resorts like Great Yarmouth.
Back on the farm, the familiar routine is keeping everybody happy, but growing concern over saving energy could mean that all this could change in the future. Research at Cambridge University says moving the clocks forward could save over 500,000 tonnes of carbon emissions each year. The bill will be discussed in the Commons in December, so this time next year, these cows could be dining in the dark for longer. Catherine Nash, BBC Look East.
And you can see more about that story in the Politics Show, Sunday at midday on BBC One. Still to come tonight, a tour of a haunted house in...
150 workers at a food factory which was destroyed by fire have lost their jobs. The Essex Foods plant in Lowestoft burnt down in July. The owners had looked for a temporary site to continue production. They couldn't find one, and today the workers were made redundant. The father of the murdered Essex teenager Dinah McNichol is writing to her killer, demanding to know why he robbed him of his daughter. Ian McNichol says it could be his last chance to find out why Peter Tobin murdered Dinah in 1991. Tobin is serving a life sentence in Scotland.
£130,000 is being spent on improvements to a rundown seafront in Essex. Dovercourt, which is near Harwich, has one of our finest beaches, but has been struggling to attract visitors.
Today, only the hardiest souls ventured out on Dovercourt's Blue Flag Beach. In a biting wind, the prom was all but deserted. For several years, this area has struggled. The local sport and social club is boarded up, awaiting a buyer to take it on. Petty vandalism has been a problem. But now change is afoot. The seafront skating rink, which once hosted roller hockey internationals, is being restored. The clubhouse will be improved, all in a push to tempt tourists in.
Dovercourt Seafront's been neglected for many years, and we see it with our tourism offer that we're trying to enlarge really in the district. The tourism officer, we see this as a really big potential area. It's got a lot of facilities, a lot of attractions and wonderful beaches, and yeah, it has been run down in the past, and it's time we brought it back into shape.
In all, £130,000 is being spent. There are new public toilets. The boating lake will also get a makeover. It's music to the ears of Rob Sharp. He runs the Blue Flag Cafe. He believes that Dovercourt has been overlooked for too long.
A lot of the time, Clacton is the one that everybody mentions, and I think we get forgotten at this end, or people know it as Harwich. There's a lot more in Harwich than just Harwich. There's, you've got Dovercourt, you've got Rebnest. They're all beautiful places, and people should come and see them.
Back at the rink, work should be finished in time for Christmas, when it's hoped a temporary ice rink can be erected to pull in new visitors. Richard Daniel, BBC Look East, Dovercourt.